Hello and welcome to the Happy Movie Mangoes podcast. This is our first episode ever. Mm.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Dallin.
We're going to start off with just a couple of questions explaining the podcast. So does everyone want to go around and talk about what the point of the podcast is?
There's a point to this. Just
Yep.
kidding.
Starting with Dallin.
Oh, well, see, when we were discussing that earlier, all I have written on my notes are to discuss movies, right?
Good. What's your answer, Spencer?
To show you that my way of movie rating is better. Just kidding.
So
We're
actually,
better
you
than
both
you.
got it wrong. It's the point of the podcast is to talk about the most important thing ever, which is my opinion about movies. So, but
Wrong.
Do we get a
just to
retest?
get more thoughts and discussion about movies in general.
Yeah.
What kind of movie critic are you guys? Starting with Dallin.
Obviously, I am the best kind, but I would say I'm pretty harsh. So most movies aren't my favorite, but I do like a lot of them. So it just depends.
Do you keep track of your movie ratings? Do you have a letterbox? I can't remember.
I use this thing called my brain, and I just keep a mental note.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So,
Okay.
I can always say my opinion's right, and it can change, and you can't say that it did change.
That's true. That's a fair point. With Letterbox, you're kind of like locked in.
Unless you change it every once in a while, you know.
Are your ratings comparable to Matt's?
Probably, except like there's some cases where I don't think some movies are as bad as he says.
Or there's some movies where he says they're not as good as everyone else says. So
Yeah.
That's true. That's also true.
Well, I think everybody could say that.
yeah, that's true. So what kind of movie critic are you, Spencer?
I put this in my Letterbox bio. I like most movies. I think there's a lot that go into movies, and it's really hard to make a really good movie. And so I think putting at least some effort in makes it a decent movie. Just a little bit of background. I went to school in digital cinema, which is all about creating movies. And so I know a lot of like the behind the scenes of what it takes, and it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So the really, really good movies are all that more impressive. And then the really bad movies are like, okay, I can kind of understand why this sucks.
Okay. And what I put down was I've been called a harsh critic, but really I'm just a very smart critic.
No, no, you
Yeah.
are a harsh critic.
That I think that was your own quote. I think you just
Yeah.
said that about yourself.
No, I did. Um, I just speak my truth, which also just happens to be the truth. So
The truth
yeah,
for you, not
yeah.
for everyone.
I think
Now
this exam
I've
is
been
rigged.
called very harsh, but I think you have to work really hard to get a 5 star, and you just have to like be absolutely like I don't know, maybe even work very hard to get a very low score. So I it leans more towards the lower scores, but that means that the movies that I think are actually good are actually like pretty quality, and it's difficult to do. So
But because a lot of your ratings lean towards the lower side, that means you're a harsh critic.
it does, but it's a bell curve, so it makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mention this, but most of my ratings lean towards the 5 star side of things.
So does that mean you just like some movies, no matter what, you'll just be like,
Yep.
"Yep, 5 stars."
True.
A lot of the times, like if I really enjoyed a movie, I'll just give it 5 stars, even
Gotcha.
though there could be like plot holes or something weird in it, or it
Mhm.
it stops suspending my disbelief.
So that means you're more of like if you enjoyed the movie, not necessarily not quality, but it's like it could have like really bad shots or actors or whatever, but like if you just had a really good time watching it, you could give it a 5 star rating.
Yeah, I think that fits me pretty well. I mean, I do appreciate those things, but unless it's like absolutely horrific, I won't like ding a movie too bad just because like they had a bad actor or something. I don't know.
Mhm, mhm.
I will.
You will ding a movie because of a bad actor?
Yes. Specifically, if it has Amber Heard, it's just an instant 1 star movie. doesn't doesn't matter if it was like before, couple like a year or two ago.
I haven't
In
heard
Zombieland.
anything about her since the whole lawsuit with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, she's been keeping quiet. She's been hanging out in Spain, minding her business. So,
Bliss.
Do you think
yeah.
she lost jobs uh,
Oh
because
yeah.
of that?
Well, I think according to the trial, she only got jobs because of Johnny. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh,
So
the
they're
more you
like, we've
know.
worked with her before. We don't want to work with her again. And Johnny Depp's like, oh, come on, please. And they're like, all right, she can be an Aquaman. And then we'll do our best to edit her out of the second Aquaman movie. Okay, so moving on. Why do you guys like watching movies or TV shows?
I like it. I mean, obviously for enjoyment, because movies and TV shows are just for enjoyment. But mainly, I feel like they help me exercise like thought experiments, or they make me like reconsider things, and that's always fun because I like to put myself in the position of the characters.
I didn't think about it like that, but that makes a lot of sense. I was just thinking just for enjoyment.
Mm.
Well, it's like I think because in the past I've been accused of like getting too attached to characters, and I think that's just like how I view a movie is like you just kind of have to attach yourself to that person, and then you take it from like their perspective and how they're thinking, and it helps you get more invested. But
Yeah, I think I did that. I do that subconsciously. Like I'm especially with dumb situations. I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I know a lot of horror movies have the stereotype of dumb people because they all they had to have to do was like this one thing and then they'll get away from the murder or whatever.
yeah, don't go down in the basement.
Yeah.
It's like they can clearly get away, but then they keep tripping.
Yeah, yeah, stuff like that.
I would say, yeah, it pretty much has to do with the characters as well. Is why I like it watching TV shows or movies because I think one, you gotta be attached to somebody. They have to be relatable, and like you have to feel a lot of emotion for them for some reason. And then also just seeing how they react to different situations. So, all right. So, what kind of episodes do we have to look forward to, Dallin?
I have, and this is a quote from my own transcript: "Is I do not understand the question."
Mm.
Because like I think we were like this is like the first episode, and we were just jotting down ideas, and it's like, what episodes do we have to look forward to? And I'm like, I don't know. What episodes are we gonna do? So that's why I put I don't understand the question.
I think we have a list of episodes planned, I believe, where we talk a lot about. I think there's a bunch of list ones where we list like top favorite movies, top least favorite movies. We talk about series.
Yeah, no, I'm just really testing you two to see what you guys think. But that was the fun part is what I put down. Yeah, mostly lists. We mostly rank movies on different topics. But there's going to be a lot of yelling, a lot of fighting, a lot of personal insults that hurt.
Whoa, 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 we're throwing insults at each other?
Yeah, personal ones.
I did not agree to this.
Oh,
Yeah, like for instance, you have very tiny hands.
mhm.
Boom.
But hopefully also a lot of fun. We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
It's whimsical and fun.
Yeah.
All right, that's the end of our first episode. Little introduction about why we're doing this. Hope you enjoyed. Please stick around for the next episode. We're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite movies ever of all time.
Hmm.
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 Also, if you didn't know, is an acronym for Happy Movie Mingos.
Yeah. Good one.